Okay, so now that we've learned about phase shifts and vertical shifts, we're going to put all this together with the amplitude and the period to try to graph a function that looks like this. So let's see if we can do that. All right, so let's just start it by filling out these things on the right here. So the amplitude, remember that's our A value. In this case, that's 4. Period. The period for cosine is 2 pi. So we're going to take 2 pi divided by b. Our b is 2. So our period is pi then. Our phase shift should be inside the parentheses. We're going to look here. Remember, opposite of what you think. So negative 3 pi over 4, you'd think that's to the left. We're actually going to move everything to the right. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. 3 pi over 4 units. And then, okay, so our vertical shift, that's our k value, and this is going to move it down, since it's negative 1, down 1, which would make our midline y equals negative 1. Okay, so now that you have all of that information, the first thing it might be helpful. I like to start by, if the midline has been changed, I like to write my new midline on here. So I'm actually going to graph y equals negative 1 on here first. Let's see if I can do this fairly well. Okay, so now let's, I don't know, do something like this. So okay, so it looks like it's sort of at negative 1 there. All right, so now I want to kind of think about what does cosine usually look like. So one wave looks like kind of like that. So remember, starting at 1 and ending at 1. And in this case, we want to really keep that in mind as we're going through. So right now our amplitude is not 1, it's 4. So I'm going to start from my midline, and I'm going to count 4 units up from there. So that should be starting at negative 1, going up 4 units would be right here at 3. Okay, so now my period is pi. So if I think about, okay, I got to get back to this point here at pi. So I'm just going to put a temporary dot. We're going to have to move some things around here in a second, but that's where I should end. So I know in between those two dots that we would just put it, I should be 4 units down from my midline in between there, which would be at pi over 2. So that would be, let's see here, negative 5. It would be 4 units down from the midline. And then in between those dots, I should be back to what would normally be 0. In this case, that would be at our midline at negative 1. Okay. So this would be one wave, but we still haven't taken into account our phase shift here yet. We've done everything else. So I like to do one wave first and then include my phase shift last. So a phase shift, moving everything 3 pi over 4. Well, on our graph, every square is 1/4 pi, or pi over 4. So I just need really 3 of those squares since it's 3 pi over 4. So I want to take all of these and move them 3 spaces to the right. So I'm going to do that in a different color. Let's go blue. So if I move this first dot 3 units over, I would be here. Okay? And then this second dot, I'm going to move 3 units over too. So 1, 2, 3, I would now be here. And then this, I'm going to move 3 over here. And then 3 units, that would give me 1, 2, 3. And then this last one, 3 units over. Give me that. Okay. So now what I want to just do is go back and do a partial eraser here and erase these pink dots that I have, and maybe my arrows that I made. Sandra, don't use whiteout. Okay, so now we're gonna finish making our dots. So I can just go either way here. I'm gonna finish this one to the right. And then keep just creating my waves all the way through. I always think the challenging part of this is making my waves next. So it looks halfway decent with a stylus or a finger, however you're drawing on here. Either way, it's not easy. Okay, so here we go. All right, so that is 4 times cosine of 2 times the quantity theta minus 3 pi over 4 minus 1. And that's it. And I'm going to do some other examples if you feel like you want some more just help with how to do these. I might put in another video or two to help out. Okay, hope that helps and makes sense. See you later.